I'll never forget, I was in a conversation with a friend of mine, and he said, I don't always see how does a skill set transfer over? What does it mean? And I told him the story. I said, I was outside Fallujah in a firefight. We had been ambushed. And I said, I'm in a ditch, and next to me in the ditch is a 19-year-old Navy corpsman. And we had a Marine who'd been shot and wounded in the neck. And in the middle of a firefight, while we're ducking RPGs, while mortars are firing, while I'm firing, dumping hot brass on his back, this 19-year-old Navy corpsman did a full tracheotomy of a kid in a ditch in those circumstances and saved his life. We were convinced he was going to die. He saved his life. And my buddy said, yeah, but how does that translate to my company? We're a software company. And I said, if you hire him and your email server goes down, he's not going to freak out.
We have a problem in our country. We have 250,000 veterans that are unemployed.
Was it hard to get a job? Absolutely. When I exited the Marine Corps, it was in 1992. I remember showing up at the Los Angeles Sheriff's Academy, and there were 700 people vying for a handful of sheriff deputy spots.
On the police force, we probably did about 40 to 50% of our hiring from the Marine Corps and from the Navy.
Before I got the job at Qualcomm, I think I did over, I'm going to say well over 300 interviews.
Civilian companies don't understand veterans. They have a hard time. They want to hire them, they really do. But only 1% of our country serves. And so most of them have not had the opportunity to learn about military life, understand what it is, understand PTSD.
The period of which I was homeless or almost homeless, it had a greater toll on me than I think it would on a normal person. Everything that you did to set yourself up for success, you start to see slip away from you. And I had gotten an offer to work for Qualcomm, and I took it. When I got the call that I got hired, I called my family. I called family members I hadn't talked to in years. And to be honest, I cried because it took so long.
I think that as San Diegans, many of the homegrown companies here, many of the large companies here, really appreciate the fact that when you hire somebody from the military, you get somebody from day one who has a skill set. You don't have to train them to be on time. You don't have to train them to be motivated. You don't have to train them to do a lot of the things that you really want in the workplace. And so many businesses in San Diego have found that out, and they really value hiring veterans because it gives them a very experienced workforce right away.
And especially having to perform a lot of these jobs in settings that are less than ideal. I mean, being able to perform the same job in a civilian setting is, is going to be a piece of cake. So, those are just some of the things that we try to help these civilian employers understand, is that our veterans have everything in the world to offer, very skilled, very talented, and we want to make sure that we keep that talent here in San Diego.
Well, I think that veterans really have a proven track record that I think is very, very attractive to any employer. When you're in the military, not only are you getting excellent job training and leadership training, but you're also getting outstanding on-the-job work experience. And couple this with the leadership, the discipline, the structure, and the determination that veterans have to really get the job done right, I think makes them just a top-notch and very valuable employee.
Veterans know how to focus on a mission. They know how to accomplish the mission. When I was a Marine in the Sunni Triangle, it would have never even crossed my mind to go back to my commanding officer and say, hey, you know what you asked me to go do? Well, it was just a little bit too hard.
The transition to civilian life has been, it's been pretty neat. I came home in 2011. All of 2011 I was in Afghanistan. And when I came home, my wife looked at me and she said that in the last 5 years, if you put it all together, would you like to know how long you've been home? And I didn't know. And she said 13 months. So Cox Communications started talking with me. They wanted to recruit me. And stars aligned and things worked out well, and it was a little hairy at first. You know, you're leaving one family, you know, that you know your whole adult life, and I actually said that in my interview. I'm leaving one family, and I'm ready to find a new family, you know, and I want to give, you know, like I gave in the Marine Corps.
Well, 1 in every 10 employees here at Cox is a veteran, and that's something that we're really proud of. We are certainly a customer service oriented organization. We're very focused on serving the customer, serving the community, and when you have veterans in your employee population, it really makes a difference because they bring that dedication and commitment to serving others that they had in the military. They bring that to your company and to your customers.
I feel that companies should really look at hiring vets because they get all the specific skills from their military background, such these intangible skills such as showing up on time, doing what they're supposed to do, not giving a lot of hassle and feedback to their supervisors when asked to do something that a normal civilian employee isn't used to doing, and may shrug their shoulders or roll their eyes at times because they think it's beneath them. But vets definitely I guess roll with the punches, I could say. So,
for a company that works in America, makes profits off of Americans, and refuses to hire veterans or is reluctant to hire veterans, my suggestion would be to look at your mission statement, because obviously there's something wrong with it.
You know, I know some people worry about some of the stress that our veterans have encountered, the same as police officers, but the police department does a very exhaustive background, including psychological examinations, and we found no difference in veterans from the normal population. In fact, we found that they've learned how to cope with it better. They've received counseling. They have skills that really translate into them being leaders on the police department or in any other occupation that you go to.
In 1988, I was involved in a helicopter crash in Gillette Bend, Arizona. I witnessed, 10 people, Marines and Air Force, that were killed in a mid-air collision, and including one of my friends. And next day I had to go out, in addition to witnessing it that night, I had to go out and help with the recovery of the bodies. And for a long time I struggled with, how do you deal with that? Survivor's guilt. Had nightmares where I woke up at the point of impact, every single night. And I think over time, you learn to deal with that and you recognize it. And I think most of the veterans, as they progress through their transitions, will figure out how they can deal with those with the help of companies.
Instead of blanketing, like, how can we help veterans? I think it starts with the individual. Take the time to understand what their service was like and how you can take that service and build upon that to help the company and also help that person grow.
One of the things that I like is when you have senior management from BAE and NASCO say, hiring veterans isn't just the right thing to do, it's the best thing for our companies. They know that when they hire a vet, they're going to get someone that can communicate well, that's responsible and takes ownership of the tasks that are assigned to them. And then they know that they're going to have a lifelong employee. So getting a veteran is really the best thing you can do for your organization. All you have to do is train them in what you need.
Once you have that first job, it's kind of a springboard. It doesn't really matter where you go from there, but it kind of gives you a baseline that you can start to essentially rebrand yourself. You're no longer a veteran, but you're an employee of a company and you have a track record that other people can decipher and can understand, and you kind of shed that say military label, I guess you'd say. Not that you'll always be a veteran, but it just gives you a good way to start from.
It's often been said that freedom isn't free, but don't worry, the United States Marine Corps will pay your share. And I would just tell people that are out there that veterans that are coming back did unbelievable things for our country, and they did it for all of us. And when they come back, they're not asking for a charity job. They're not asking for a handout. All they're asking for is a chance. They just want a shot. And I would tell every HR person out there that if you give those veterans a chance to prove themselves, you will have the best employees that you've ever had in your company. You just got to give them a shot. They have skills, they have intangibles, they know leadership, they know perseverance, they know adversity, and those are things that you just can't teach someone else. You can teach them how to do the ins and outs of your company. And I would say just give them a chance, give them a shot. And once you do, and you see the results, you'll be hiring a lot of veterans.